Happy Wednesday and welcome back to AG University Podcast. It is I, at Anna Grace Newell, your professor, lead dancing unicorn. We are back, and I have been wanting to tell this story for like 4 months now, ever since I watched this documentary. You guys know I love to analyze a story to every single degree and then somehow make it into a spiritual lesson, but it's my favorite. Austin's cousin came into town literally 2 weekends ago, and Austin and I were fighting over who got to tell the story because it's been our favorite story. Honestly, this is my Roman Empire. It might be more of Austin's Roman Empire than mine, but I do think about it at least twice a day. Like, it crosses my mind twice a day. I'm like, how did this happen? And also, I have so many thoughts on it, and I'm just going to dive right in. First of all, I'm going to tell you guys a story about a famous musician. They did do a documentary on him, and if for some reason you feel compelled to watching the documentary first, it's called Searching for Sugar Man. If you've already seen it, great. We're going to talk about it. So if you want to pause this and go watch it first, absolutely go for it. I will give you the summarized version, and it would still be great to watch it. I don't think I'm going to like ruin the story. It's just still really interesting. Okay. Let me set the stage. It's 1970. There is a very popular record label, Sussex, that is bringing in this artist to record 2 albums, I believe. And they were like, this guy is it. He is going to be the next big thing. Like, his lyrics had such dexterity and he was just like mysterious and cool. And they really were like, he's like a lyrical genius. Like, this guy has really got the it factor. You know, some people just got it. He had it. Okay. So they record an album. It was the 1 or 2 albums, irrelevant. Anyways, they record an album. They're like, it's going to pop. This is going to be the next big thing. Let's go. We're going to ride this guy all the way at the top. The album drops, literally crickets, you guys, crickets. The producer is like, we sold 2. And they were all so shocked. They're like, this is so crazy. So, Sweet Man Rodriguez, that was the artist, he sort of gives up on his dream of becoming a musician. He just goes back to Detroit. You know, he was like in Hollywood and all of the cool places they were recording and all the metro cities recording, then goes back to Detroit and goes into construction and just kind of lives a very simple life in doing manual labor. Okay. Meanwhile, I can't even get over this. Meanwhile, someone hears one of his albums. They show in the documentary, like, someone getting on a plane having one of his albums, lands in South Africa with this album. And then I guess from there was a lot of, I guess, a revolution going on in South Africa. And his album literally becomes like their mantra. Like, he becomes their fearless leader. Like, to them, he is this like larger than life character that's like singing about kind of taboo things at the time. Like, some of his songs had like more sexual references, and like he had some political undertones to his music, and it literally became their anthem. They were like, Rodriguez is our fearless leader. We love him. His album over there ends up selling more copies than Elvis Presley. Like, he becomes freaking their Elvis, like, so famous. Obviously, I guess they just bootlegged a shit ton of albums, and it was kind of like underground vibes. Like, the music was, like I said, kind of taboo and kind of funky and out there. And um, no one knew who he was. They had no idea, but they're like, this guy is a literal legend. Like, and his music spread to other places, I believe, like New Zealand and Australia. He's huge. He is massive. Meanwhile, you guys, this is like in the 70s and 80s. There's no social media. This man is living in Michigan, in Detroit, working on construction. For years, up until 1997, he sells like, I mean, he goes like quadruple duple platinum. Like, his album is it. It is like number one, it, more than Elvis. Okay. So prior to them making this documentary and all of the things, there were so many rumors that maybe he committed suicide, or like he was a very mysterious creature, even when he did perform, even when he filmed the content for the albums. Like, he was always wearing sunglasses. Like, no one knew who he was. So there was all these rumors that he was dead because no one had ever seen him. Like, no one knew anything about him, just a mystery man. Well, in 1997, some reporters and journalists were like, we want to figure out what happened to Rodriguez. He was such a big part of our movement. He was such a big part of everything that we've gone through as a country. Like, we want to know who he is or what happened to him. We can like honor him in some way. Well, so first they called the record label, and the record label that he recorded with was like, wait, you guys, he's not dead. He's very much alive. And they're like, what? Shook. Everyone this whole time has thought he is dead. They started a thread or a forum, basically kind of like a milk carton vibes, like what happened to Rodriguez? Does anyone know anything about Rodriguez? And like at this point, obviously 1997 was kind of when this story was popping off. The internet is around and his daughter sees it, Rodriguez's daughter. And she comments on the forum. She's like, yo, not only do I like know where he is, who he is, that's my dad. And he's very much alive, living in Detroit to this day. Um, so they contact Rodriguez. I'll never forget the journalist is like, "Oh my gosh, could you put me in connection with him?" And the girl's like, "Yeah, my dad, who's a construction worker in Detroit, like, sure, I'll give you his phone number." And the journalist is like, "I get a phone call and it's Rodriguez." And they're like so starstruck because this man is a legend. He's an icon. He's like a quadruple duple platinum artist. I don't know. There's more technical terms. I'm just giving you it as the high level version. And it's Rodriguez on the phone. Like, "Hey, what's up? Can I help you?" And they're like, "Sir, we literally like have been searching for you for years. Like, we love you. Like, we would love to fly you to South Africa. We want to honor you. Like, would you come perform all this stuff? Like, you are our Elvis. You are our fearless leader." And so he's kind of like, he's obviously shook. This man is in his 60s now, living in Detroit, working on construction, leading a very simple, quiet life, has not a clue that he has one fan, much less thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. I don't even know how many, but like entire countries of people are like worshiping his music. So they fly him to South Africa. They bring him in and he brings, his family with him. It's so sweet. You honestly should watch it. It's just such a feel good story. And this is all true. This is like a very real, true story. And at 60 years old, he goes on tour in South Africa and has these sold out arenas touring, living out his dream of becoming a musician. And he before like he had really had no money like for his family, and he was living like a very simple life, and he really ends up getting a lot of this money and does all this good with it, gives it to his family, gives it back to the community, gives a lot of it away. Like, it is just the most heartwarming story ever. And there were so many little takeaways and lessons because I feel like everyone needs to hear about this story. And there's so many stories. And this has nothing to do, obviously, I'm not a musician. I honestly, thank goodness I don't have that. I don't have a lot of musical talents. So thankful I don't have that call on my heart. But a lot of people do. But whatever your thing is, whatever your something, your calling, your art, your baby, your whatever you put blood, sweat, and tears into, whatever you feel your purpose is, even, and you feel like you haven't stepped into it yet, or you feel like nobody sees you for you, or you feel like, is anyone ever going to notice that I'm trying so hard, doing whatever thing that you're doing? And I just feel like this is a tale that really gripped Austin and I. I mean, we talked about it for days, for weeks still. We watched it like seriously right before I went on break, and I kept wanting to record a podcast episode about it, but I ended up having guests, and then I needed to do my season finale, and I was like, you know what? I'll talk about it next season. Anyways, Rodriguez is my Roman Empire. As you guys can see, this is a freaking iconic story. And this was the high level story. There's like a bunch of other details. But I don't know, from 1960s to the 1970s till 1997, for like basically 27 years, this man thinks his music career was a flop. It was a joke. Meanwhile, people across the globe are literally bowing down to him, playing him every night in their garage with their friends. Like, we love Rodriguez. What happened to him? We want more of him. And so at the time when we first watched this, Austin was going through, he was interviewing for a couple of different positions. And he said it brought him so much comfort because he was like, you know what? I really know that I have so many gifts and my people just haven't found me yet. And I was like, oh my God, you're so king. You're so freaking sweet. Because for those of you guys who are maybe new here, Austin was in football coaching for 12 years and he had a really big offensive coordinator job as D1 football, was doing the whole thing. And it's just not conducive for longevity if you want to have a family and you're working literally 100 hours a week. And it is grueling. For any of you guys who are married to a coach, like I feel you, that was such a challenging time in our relationship because I never saw the guy. And if I did see him, he was literally on E. His battery was drained. So, anyways, he's only been out for 2 years and he kind of feels a little bit like he's starting over. Like, okay, well, what do I want to do with my life? Like, I've always been dedicated to sports and interviewing for jobs. Like he's also someone who's always been really good at everything that he does. His human design profile, he's an easy breezy genius. And he really is that. It's actually annoying. He's good at everything. He's like an incredible athlete. So is Zane. Zane's also an easy breezy genius. I'm just surrounded by easy breezy geniuses. Zane is my stepson. He's 13. Anyways, so he's always been good at everything. And now he's kind of in a place in his life where he's like, okay, well, shoot, I'm 35 or he's 36. And he kind of feels a little bit like he's took a step back or he's kind of starting over. And he's like, gosh, I just worked so hard. And I know I have he is like so that man has the purest soul and he just wants to help people. That's why he loved being a coach. Like he really is such a good, like he's patient. He will work with you until you get it. Like he is just has so much to give. And that's why he's really like trying to figure out what he wants to do. And he's like, I know I have a big purpose. And I'm like, I know you do. And if a job interview wouldn't work out, like I could just tell he was kind of bummed. And then we watched this documentary and he was like, you know what? I know that I have a lot to give. I know that I have gifts. I know that I'm, here for a reason. And I just haven't found my people yet. Or maybe there are people out there and it's literally, you guys, there are so many people out there, whatever it is that you're doing or you're creating that are recognizing you, that are silent fans. I promise you, there is someone that's watching you from afar that is inspired by you. There is somebody that is consuming, even if it's like a newsletter that you send out or just anything. Like it could be a silly video of you lip singing a song. It could be you creating a recipe. It could be you trying something new for the first time, you starting a pickleball league. Like there is someone that is inspired by something, even if it feels so tiny, so insignificant. There are people who are rooting for you. And there are a lot of people who aren't just going to write you and be like, girl, I saw you hit that pickleball. Like they would feel like that's a weird thing to say to someone. But I promise you, there are people who are rooting for you. I think that we start to think that there are so many people who like don't there I feel like there's kind of like an undertone, like a narrative right now. They're like, people don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you be successful. Or they're jealous or like they're haters or like blah blah blah. Yeah, sure, those people exist. But there are also you have an entire fan base that you haven't even met yet. And this could be literally anyone. This could be a mom circle of moms who you haven't met yet, who you could help them and inspire them in some way. This could be a teacher's community. This could be anybody who is in your space who you have not even connected with, or in some way, shape, or form, there's something that you're going to create that's going to impact their life in some way. I promise you. Like I literally love this story so much because it really, really does remind me that there are always people rooting from you from afar. And you may never know it. You may find out in 30 years that you posted something on social media that shifted the trajectory of someone's life, that you shared something vulnerably, that somebody needed to hear that in that moment. And it could be one person, but that shifted their whole entire story. And that's something that I've really been leaning into lately. Like, I know these are tiny examples, but the tiny moments make up the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years of our life. It is the magic and the tiny moments that matter. I promise you. And you got to find the magic. And I'm telling you, I've been in my unbothered era, just leaning in to the point where I'm like, you know what? So I ordered these 2 dresses off of Pinterest. You know how, like, Pinterest serves you a bunch of ads now with, like, weird random boutiques that you've never heard of that are freaking who knows where in the world? But I saw this dress and I was like, "Oh, that looks so unique." And I didn't wanna go the traditional, like, basic find a white dress on Revolve because I feel like every influencer right now wearing kind of the same bridal looks. It's just hard to find a lot of different white looks. And so I was like, "All right, I'm gonna try to find some of these like funky Australian boutiques and boutiques from just random places," right? Anyways, I ordered these 2 dresses. I got really tickled. I was telling my sister, I'm like, "Oh no, I ordered this dress and I got this email from this woman who basically was like, 'Hey, can you send me all of your measurements?'" And I was like, "Oh no, is she like making this dress from scratch?" Like, I'm so confused right now. I thought I ordered a boutique dress that was just like size medium or size. It was like size 4, 6, 8, whatever, 10. And I just picked a size. And then I ended up getting this email that's like, "Can you send me the measurements from your clavicle to your feet, from your nose to your big toe, from your left ear down to your femur?" I'm like, "What is happening right now? What did I order?" Anyways, so I just go along with this lady. I send her all the measurements back. I'm like, "I have literally no idea what I'm getting myself into." My sister is like so tickled. She's like, "What did you buy?" I'm like, "I don't know." And it wasn't that expensive. It was like $180, $200 dress, which actually I know that that doesn't sound very expensive compared to the expensive bridal dresses on Revolve. Those are like five to $800. So I was trying to find something in like the 200, 100 to 200 range, just because I have so many bridal looks. So, anyways, this woman, I end up emailing back with this really nice woman. She's like making me this dress. It's custom, and it came in the mail. I actually ended up ordering 2 dresses from different boutiques on Pinterest. The other one was normal. It just like came to me. And neither one of them worked. They were just an absolute flop disaster. And I put it on the mirror, and literally this was this morning, and I was like, "Oh, frick my dick." One of them really didn't fit. It just didn't look like the photo. You know how sometimes that happens and you're just like, "Oh man, it didn't look like the photo." But one of them is like really pretty, just too tight on my boobs, which is a problem that I always have because I have larger boobs for my height. And so things just kind of always seem to fit me a little wonky. But I was like, "You know what? There has to be a we have to be giving and receiving magic in this world, and I'm gonna donate these dresses to somewhere that's carrying women's dresses, and this dress is gonna fit someone perfectly. I just know it. And there's gonna be some woman who needs this beautiful white gown, and it's gonna make her day, and maybe she'll thrift it for like 20 bucks, and she's gonna be like, 'The universe is blessing me and so magical.'" And that's just part of my story. I just had to contribute a little bit of magic. The dresses didn't work for me. They just didn't fit me right, didn't work, didn't but it I just know it would look so beautiful on someone. And so I really was like, I'm meant to give this to someone. I am meant to donate it to a women's closet somewhere or a Goodwill or a thrift store. I don't know. I'm going to look up whatever's the best place around me. There's like maybe some type of like secondhand place around here. But I was like, I really do. I feel like I'm the contributor to the magic of someone else's story. I have to help. If I'm always receiving magic, I've got to sprinkle it back into the universe, because both of these dresses, since they were like kind of made to order, kind of, sort of, I didn't really know it at the time what I was getting myself into. You can't return them. And I was like, not even upset about it. I was like, it's okay. This is going to make a beautiful story for someone. And I can't wait for them to wear it because I know it's going to be amazing. And I said a little blessing and I infused some love into the dresses. I packaged them up and I'm going to send them on their way out into the universe. A little gift, right? Like, we've got to give and receive magic. And I really do feel like it is the magic and the tiny moments. And I know that is a tiny example. And honestly, I went way off on a tangent. But back to our Rodriguez. Basically, I just want everyone to know that you are all rock stars and you can have people that you impact, and it can be in the tiniest little way. But your story was written to inspire them in some way, to root for them, to cheer for them. They're going to look to you and be like, "Wow, she went through this really hardship. He did this really hard thing. I can do that too. I now believe in myself because that's possible. They did that. So it's possible for me too." And that's why I'm always here to say, like, you just, even if you release something, like, do y'all know how much content I have put out that I look back 3, 4 years ago? I've been creating content every day for 10 years. Honestly, it might be longer. 2015, I believe, is when I started. It could have been 2014. It's been a long time. It's been some would say too long. No, I'm just kidding. I love what I do. But I look back and I'm like, "Oh my god, that is so cringy." Like, I wanna delete it. I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh my god." But you would not believe whatever era I was going through at that time. So many people would be like, "Girl, you inspired me to just wear whatever I want and not care about anyone." And I'm like, "That's awesome." Okay? That right there is amazing. Some of the stuff that I posted really questionable. Like, I don't know. I've gone through so many phases in this life, and the fact that I've been documenting them every single day on a microphone or a video camera is just really crazy. Because sometimes you look back and you're like, "Ooh, who was going to tell me? Who was going to tell me?" I have so many eras. The bad Botox era, the era where my eyebrows were literally looked like cartoon character eyebrows up to my forehead. My eyebrows were in my hairline. I'm like, who the fuck was going to tell me? Why did someone not tell me I looked like that? But you know what? I had to go through that to get on the other side now being a holistic facial massage queen. Okay. Like sometimes you got to go through some phases and look back and be like, wow, that was really crazy. All that being said, not that all of it's going to be cringy and like chuggy and whatever. But that's why it's just so important for whatever God has put on your heart, whatever it is. For Rodriguez, it was that album that he was like, wow, what a flop. No one liked it. No one listened to it. I suck. Boo. I don't know if he actually said those things, but I would imagine if you were with a record label and they thought you were going to be the next big thing and then it just absolutely flopped, you're like, damn, everyone really hyped me up. I thought that was going to be really good. And I've had moments like that too, where everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, we want this, like Anna Grace, make this or whatever." And then like I do it and like crickets. I'm like, "Hello, okay." And then like all of a sudden, like 6 months later, something will get a bunch of traction, or like I'll post a video that will absolutely flop, and then 3 months later, it'll go viral. And I'm like, what? That was so random. I haven't touched that. I don't even know like how that picked up traction. Like I don't know where that's going. And I know that's like a shorter time frame than the 27 years Rodriguez lived thinking he did not have a fan, that his music did not impact anyone. So I want you guys to refer to the beginning of season 3, episode 1. I mean, actually, it was episode 81, where I was talking about your timeline is so different than everyone else's timeline. And it is so easy to compare them. And the more that, like this morning, I was walking on the beach and I didn't have my phone. I was collecting seashells. I love seashells. I've always loved them. When I was 8 years old, I had a shell garden in my parents' backyard. And I would just put seashells out there. There was really nothing was growing, but I called it my shell garden. And it was just, I don't know, a hobby. It was magical. I loved it. And I was collecting seashells this morning and I just kind of floated around the ocean and laid out and just had some conversations with myself off my phone. And I really realized I was like, this is what matters. These moments right now and how I feel in these moments. Like, pull away from the frustrations of your life or the confusion or whatever it is that we all go through, whatever moments that kind of get us riled up, maybe stress. Pull away from those moments when you're at your job or when you're on your phone or when you're comparing yourself to someone somewhere else. Put your phone away, go outside in your backyard, put your feet in the ground, look around and say, how do I feel in this moment? And I was like, you know what? In this moment, I am healthy, I am present, and I am able to express gratitude in this moment. And that is a miracle. So many people do not get to say that. They really don't. And that is all that matters. When you actually strip away everything, strip it all away. Strip it all away right before you get in bed at night when you can lay your little head on your pillow and you've had a yummy meal and you just kind of nuzzle in your bed and you've got a comfy bed and you can just take a big sigh, release your day. It's those moments right there where you're like, how freaking cool is it that I can just breathe, that I can experience presence in this moment? Even better, I can feel peace in this moment. Do you know how many people do not feel peace probably ever? There is some sort of turmoil going on in their life or their environment and if you have that, that is like such a gift. It is such a gift. It's so easy to take for granted. Even health, that one's huge. You never know how lucky you are until all of a sudden your health could potentially be compromised and you're like, "Holy shit. All I want is to be healthy again," right? So when you strip back all of these things that cause confusion or frustration or anything, and you just go in these moments, these tiny little magical moments, that's literally all that matters. Those moments. So this weekend or whatever's coming up, I want you to try to create some of those moments where you just stare and the sun is shining, it's kissing your sweet little face. You can feel the breeze, you can feel the wind, you can feel the rain, whatever it is. You get to maybe even go swimming. I don't know, jump into a pool, go somewhere. Like those are the moments where you are existing and when you are present. And that is truly all that matters. The rest really doesn't matter because you know what? We've already talked about this. It's written. Rodriguez was always going to release that album in the 70s. And he had a vision. I bet when he wrote that album that he was going to be on tour. He's like, I'm going to tour with this album. I just know it's going to be a sold out tour. And the universe is like, yeah, man, it will. Hell yeah, brother. It is going to be a sold out tour. We will see you back here on stage in 31 years. Now, can you imagine at the time if he had known that? Like, that would have probably really been a bummer. But he had the vision because the story was written, you guys. The story was written. And his higher self, his heart, his spirit knew in his heart. He's like, this is going to hit. This is going to pop. And it sure as heck did. It popped the heck off. Absolutely. But in a completely different way than I'm sure you could have ever imagined. But how even more magical is this story? The fact that for years it carried these people through, and this is literally a quote, he says, through oppression and revolution. And he became someone that they turned to and that he empowered them and inspired them. And he had literally no idea. So, this is just your friendly reminder that any idea that you get to create something, to put anything out into the world, whatever it is, if it's the most minuscule tiny thing, it is a Facebook post, it is a piece of clothing you want to create, it's some mittens you want to knit. Give it your intention and give it your all. And the people that are meant to connect with it, they just are. And if you have those big visions on your heart, I'm sure like Rodriguez did, and just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean anything that you have created has flopped or failed. Do you know how many series, how many segments, how many videos, how many newsletters, how many courses, how many things that I have created that have flopped over the last 10 years? I have created so much content, it would literally make your head, it makes me dizzy. I don't even know if I could list all of it. And it's not that some of it did okay, some of it has done great, some of it's gone viral, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because the vision that I hold for what I actually see, my purpose, a lot of that content really has nothing to do with it. But I just freaking keep swinging the bat, keep swinging the bat, keep swinging the bat till one day I'm gonna find that vision that I see, that I hold. It's gonna meet me. We're gonna meet each other. My dad always says that all the time. He wrote me a little letter that I hung in my office and he said, never ever give up. You can never beat someone who won't give up. He's like, perseverance is your greatest gift. Because my dad always is like, you've never given up. You have never let anyone get you down. I have been bullied. I have been ridiculed. People have made fun of me when Instagram blogging was like not cool. Okay, I was doing it. And also I didn't know what I was doing. So it's like it was embarrassing. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, whatever, yo, this is supposed to be my career. I already know it. Nobody believes me. No one believed me. Like literally my own family was like, so like what are we doing right now with like the photo taking photos of ourselves? Like what's happening? Really quick. What are you doing? No one believed. But you know what? I believed. I had that vision on my heart, and you don't really need anyone else to buy into your vision. You really don't. So whatever the thing is on your heart, even if it makes absolutely ludicrous bananas no sense, start it, put it out into the world. Someone will be inspired by it. Someone will be your silent fan. Someone will be cheering from you for you. And then you never know what it's going to turn into because each and every one of my projects has turned into something bigger and greater and more meaningful and more purposeful. But I've also picked up so many skill sets along the way to support my now vision that I actually have a stronger foundation for and that I can carry and that I can do and I can execute. And sometimes too, like we have to work jobs that have to fund our dreams. You know, we can't just give up on everything and just go all in on our vision and then have no money and then like we put all this pressure on the vision and we need it to happen now. It's like we can also live, you know, in a state of being detached from it. You can be creating, you can be grateful, you can be detached and also still moving towards your goals because you're not putting all this pressure that it needs to come to fruition right now, today. I need it right now. I need it right now. Look at Rodriguez. 27 years later, 30 years later, 33 years later, this man is touring. So, yes, I am always here to champion you guys and just let you know that you have silent supporters. You have a silent supporter in me. Even if I haven't met you yet or I haven't seen you face to face, there will be a time, I'm sure, where our paths cross. And I am here rooting for you. And there are people rooting for you. And just because there are some people who aren't in the beginning, and there's going to be people who don't believe you and they don't get you and they don't understand it, there is a whole entire platinum album, thousands of people that you just haven't met. You just don't know yet. You haven't connected with them. And who knows, maybe you guys will get a completely different takeaway from the story. And maybe you have a little time this weekend and you can watch the documentary. It's called Searching for Sugar Man. I actually can't remember what platform we watched it on. It's been a few months, but you can Google it and check it out. And yeah, I just think the universe is magical and so cool. And I just am really here to remind you that your story has been written, your timeline has, the tracks have been laid, you're exactly where you're meant to be, you're right on time, you're not behind, and the universe is always going to give you what you're ready for. So, in the meantime, what can you do except be present, be grateful, and take care of you? Allowing yourself to be the most beautiful, shiniest, happiest, healthiest version of yourself, you will absolutely thrive. And plus, it's like the old saying, time flies when you're having fun. Like, if you're ready for a manifestation to come in, girl, time flies when you're having fun. The more fun you are having, the faster certain things are going to come to you because you're just going to be more magnetic. Just because the big thing hasn't happened, you can still manifest so many magical moments in between. I firmly, absolutely believe that. Know that from the bottom of my heart. This is kind of just like a little motivational quickie for you guys today. I'll be back next week with a longer format episode, but I have been kind of loving more solo episodes for right now, just getting back into the swing of things. So if you guys have any opinion one way or the other, solo episodes. Also, if you guys liked last week where I opened the Akashic Records live, I would be happy to do more of that as well. Just kind of curious what part of, or how in depth with the Akashic records you would like to go. Some people kind of like the lighter messages. Some people are like super curious and want to hear everything. I'm always open to feedback, and I'm always happy to channel whatever I can for you. And I really wanted to kind of get back to doing some questions. I used to do Q&A on here, and then just we booked up so many guests for season kind of end of 1 and 2. So maybe we could get back to that as well. You guys, let me know. I am always checking the reviews here on the podcast page, and I'm always open to your feedback, and I always appreciate your support. And thank you so much for coming to class. And let's see, this episode is going to be live. Yes, still in time for all of our events. Sign up. I have September 14th, back to school party. I would love to see you there. It's going to be a sound bath Reiki event. I'm pretty sure tickets are still available by the time this goes live. Just check my social media. It's saved to my highlight. It says AGU events. It's going to be really magical. It's going to be literally down the street, kind of in my hood. Beautiful, most beautiful beaches, I think, down A1A. And it's going to be here in Florida, and you can bring a friend. Come one, come all. This work is for beginners. I'll open the Akashic records and we'll do kind of like a meditative movement, some rhythmic healing, which is really a hybrid I've created that's combining breath, dance, and Reiki. And it's really, really, it's powerful, but it's gentle. It's not anything that's gonna, like blast your it's not like a blasting Reiki vibe. It's like very like gentle breath, very feminine, flowy movements. We do have a few songs where we're kind of like jumping and like more high vibrational and a lot of energy. And it's really fun. It's really potent. It's powerful work. It frees up any stagnation in the body that I truly believe creates blocks, emotions like trapped anger that I personally feel contribute to a lot of autoimmune, almost like 80%. I believe it's 80% more like women versus men have autoimmune issues, which I just feel like it's because women have a harder time expressing those more like masculine, or I don't even know if it's masculine emotion, but like I feel like men just are like get mad and they like, I don't know, like punch each other and then get on with it. Women, we harbor on things, and or we want to be like cutesy and polite, and we don't want to be like rude or bitchy or confrontational and blah blah blah, and then we like sit on all that stuff and it stays in our body, and then somehow I feel like it just manifests its way into some kind of ailment, and I'm here for us to stomp and shake it out and jump around and have fun while we're doing it. So that's kind of the like foundation for how I got into this work for somatic work. If you're new to it, it's very powerful. If you're someone that's like, I don't love to sit and meditate, come to this class, September 14th, 5:30 to 7:30. It is like meditating with your body and freeing up any blocks, any stagnation, any stale energy in the body. And it's really fun. And it's a really fun group. I have a couple of my girlies who went on my Costa Rica retreat who are flying in. Shout out to Jessie, who's flying from Canada, you guys. Okay. So if anyone's in the surrounding area of Florida, I would love to see you. Um, I have girlies flying in from all over, which I'm so honored and so grateful. And I just can't wait for all of you guys to meet, because I feel like anytime I've created a sacred space, it's been a really magical union, and everyone has become friends and they continue on their friendships, and it's really beautiful. And of course, I have my trips to Costa Rica and Bali. So it's going to be February 2025 and June 2025. And Bali is going to be the only time that I will run that trip. So if you've ever had Bali on your bucket list, then come one, come all, bring friends. Anyone can come, all ages. I do say for all of my events, it's technically 18 and up, because you can't access the Akashic records for anyone under the age of 18. Fun fact. You would learn that in my course, How to Read the Akashic Records, always for sale, lives in my bio. We do not want to interfere with the free will of children because they're too young. So anyone, I have women from ages 22 to 62 coming to these events. So I'd love to see you. I can't wait to meet you guys. And if you can't make it to these events, I'm sure our paths will cross in the future. And just know I'm rooting for you. And there are people out there that are rooting for you, and you just haven't met them yet. Okay. I love you guys. Have the best day ever. And thanks for coming to class. Mwah. Bye. As always, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel so called, or if it feels aligned, I would love for you to leave me a review here. I always love reading your beautiful thoughts and messages. And also you can find me at Anna Grace Newell on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I will link all of my courses, Age University course curriculum in the show notes, along with if you're interested in booking an Akashic Records reading with me. My scheduling link goes out in my newsletter. It goes out once a month and it's completely free. I would love to have you there. As always, I'm a proud professor and you get an A+ for making it all the way through the end. Love you.